productivity and motivation can obviously be a good thing, but the biggest thing is that like many times we get into this very toxic mindset where all we think about is work. All we think about is the next big thing. We never take time to realize that a productive life is often a life that is focused on celebrating and focused on living your life. Like you can't live your life if you're constantly stressing, constantly doing the next thing. And so in this episode, I'm going to be talking about productivity versus toxic productivity.
And who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Welcome back to the Winter Arc Podcast. Hope you guys are doing great. Please do go follow me on Instagram, X, and other places. It's pretty easy to find it, just the Winter Arc Podcast. I'm not going to go through the usernames because literally just look it up. They'll pop up, I promise. But the thing that I wanted to talk about today was productivity versus toxic productivity. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because many times we kind of confuse the fact of like, oh, well, I can't feel productive until I've done X, Y, Z today. And that fair enough. You know, you want to accomplish your goals, right? But it comes at an expense to the other things that you are trying to accomplish in your daily life. So for instance, like if you aren't able to live your life, you are not able to have a productive life. If you are constantly stressing about every single little detail that you need to do, every single little goal that you need to accomplish in that day, you are not going to be able to live your life. And some people would say, well, it's worth it for the money. It's worth it to be able to just waste away and not like give any kind of thought to the life that you're wasting away every single day, wasting away at the goals that you think that are good. And that, you know, they might be intrinsically good and you might have the good intentions, but at the end of the day, you don't actually believe that it is good. Because if you did believe it was good, you would have a balance to be able to say, you know what? No, I'm not going to stress myself out to the point where I can't enjoy life anymore. And so like, for instance, one of the biggest things is this: when you believe that happiness can only come once you achieve your big goal, so why are you doing it in the first place? So why are you doing your big goal in the first place? If you believe that happiness can come from that, and by the way, that's by Rollins. He's a YouTuber, by the way. Go look him up. He's great. But if you think that happiness is derived from that goal, you are sorely mistaken. And if you think that happiness is going to come from it, then why are you even doing the goal? Because it's not going to come from it. You need to think about this. You need to think about what makes me happy, what makes me at peace, and what makes me actually enjoy life. And the reality is that having money at the end of the day, you might feel great about it, but guess what? It's not going to fulfill you. It's just money. Money is simply just a tool. If you want to be greedy, go ahead, my friend. You can just waste your time being greedy. But at the end of the day, that money, that paycheck, that job, that gig, whatever it is that you're chasing is not going to satisfy you in the long term. And so I guess that's what I really want to focus on, is the fact of like, we're so focused on like trying to get more money, trying to do the next big thing so that we can make more money, so that we can actually increase the amount of money we're making or invest better or XYZ, right? But this is the problem. If you don't have a clear defined goal of what you're trying to do in reality, because like, think about it, right? Why do you want to make money? Why do you want to make money? If it's just to buy a Mustang or a nice muscle car and a nice house, you're missing the point. Why do you want money? Ask yourself that question first. Okay, so maybe you want money to provide for your family. Well, that's a good goal, right? Maybe you want money to, I don't know, start a business. That's a great goal too. Maybe you want money to contribute to your community more. That's great too. But this is the thing. The problem is that we don't realize that we can do almost all of those things now. We don't realize that if that's the real goal, we cannot be distracted by the tool. And so what do I mean by that? So when you are thinking about making money, when you are thinking about being productive so you can make money, because that's the end goal, right? You need to realize that you cannot be solely focused on just the money because the goal's right in front of you. Because sometimes you can actually accomplish the goal without money. believe it or not. And, you know, some things do require money and there's no way around it. But like, there's a lot of certain circumstances where, like, if you, like, for instance, back to the providing for the community, right? If you are trying to contribute to your community, you don't need money to do that. You can volunteer. You can be there for people. You can make yourself available to the community or to your church or wherever you're trying to serve, right? You can be there. You can be present in the moment. You don't need to wait 10 years before you set up a trust fund for some nonprofit that you support or something. You can start serving there now. You can start actually contributing towards that community that you love now. And so the whole thing is that with that quote by Rollins, remember that the end goal is not the money. Like, yeah, sure. Like, I get it. You want to retire someday. I do too, because like my Generation Z is not going to be able to get Social Security. It's not going to last that long. It's going to be insolvent by 2030. Let's just be honest. So the reality is like, how do I save up for retirement? Like, that's a huge goal, right? And then thankfully, like, I've started like investing and stuff like that now while I'm young, but like still, it's still a huge goal. Like, I can't even imagine being 50 or 60 and saving up for retirement and like saving up later in life. Like, that would be stressful, especially if you don't have Social Security, like my generation won't, for instance. But the whole point is like, okay, well, retirement is a goal, right? For me, retirement is a goal for, I would assume all of us most likely. So how do we accomplish that? Well, it isn't by worrying. It isn't by trying to come up with get rich quick scheme and stuff like that. It's by simply figuring out, okay, what works? You know what works? Long-term investing. You know what works? Being in the market long enough, because you know the time valuation of money goes up just as long as it's in the market. That's the reality of investing. That's the reality of all these different things. So if my end goal is retirement, I shouldn't be solely focused on, oh, I need to make the business right now so before I'm broke when I'm 60. I better like save as much as I can, or gamble as much as I can, or day trade as much as I can, or buy as much crypto as I can so that I can actually do that. No, you're being distracted by the distractions that aren't the goal. The goal isn't to make crypto. The goal isn't to ride a stock up like GameStop or something like that. The goal is to stay focused on your goal. So what's the goal for me? Retirement. Well, what can I do? Oh, well, how about I use the 3% match of my work? Or maybe you don't have a 3% match, but maybe I take 3% of my income from my 9-to-5 job and I start putting it away for retirement. Start putting it in an IRA, start putting it in a 401k or something like that, right? That's the goal. The goal isn't to get rich. The goal is to prepare for retirement. And so not only just for retirement, right? But for anything in life. Like, let's say my goal is like, for instance, my daughter's going to be born in February, right? Now, granted, her wedding and college is far away from now, like 18, 20 years, but why would I wait then and be broke basically when I'm 40 or 50 when I have to pay for her wedding and her and college, or have to help her with college and stuff financially? So the whole point is, the goal isn't to have millions of dollars saved up just so I can be rich. The goal is to, day by day, month by month, year by year, save enough money so that when the day comes that she gets married, when the day comes that she goes off to college, I don't have to worry about myself and my wife, because guess what? We will be wise by putting away money for her, even if it's just a little bit. And that's the whole thing. Like, the habit of just preparing for the future is literally just putting little bit by little bit by little bit. And I know this is like getting off into the weeds of like finances and stuff like that and planning for the future, but it's just a good example of what the goal is. You are not going to be happy if you accomplish the goal. Why? Because that wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't to make money. And so, like, for instance, we assume more of a good thing is better. Like, guess what? Money is good. Being productive is good. Being motivated is good. All that is great. But when that comes at the expense of ignoring your family, when that comes at the expense of just ignoring your life and ignoring your health and ignoring just like the people around you, like your friends, family, and etc., like, that's terrible. Like, you become a toxic person. You are participating in toxic productivity because you believe that your work And that good thing, quote unquote, that was originally good is better than spending time with friends and family. That's better than being there for someone in your life. And I want to encourage that because like, that's just the reality of our world now. This toxic hustle culture, like, you know, the people who promote hustle culture in today's culture will just be like, nah, that's not toxic. And they're the ones that are the most toxic. Like, they're not married. Why? Because they would be divorced within a day because like they cared about no one except for themselves. They only care about themselves. They only care about their interests. They only care about their selfish desires, and they don't care about anyone around them. And so like if you're a decent human being and you really care about your family, your wife, your kids, whoever it is, you're going to make the time because as I said, the goal isn't money. The goal isn't being productive. The goal is to spend more time, to have the freedom with friends and family. And so for instance, this is actually a great quote by Elizabeth Phillips. She's also a YouTuber that I was watching too the other day. If your ladder is up against the wrong wall, you will just get to the wrong place faster. And I think I want to highlight that, especially if you, like for instance, let's say you were trying to change the light bulb, right? But instead of putting the ladder up in the middle of the room, you put it on the right side of the room. Is the light bulb over there? No, it's not. The light bulb is not on the right side of the room. It's in the middle of the room. So where do you have to put the ladder? You have to put the ladder where the light bulb is, or right under where the light bulb is, to change it. And so you have to realize that you have to figure out what your goals are. And oftentimes this is what I've found. I have to figure out what my intrinsic goals are within myself before I can actually accomplish extrinsic goals. So any goal that's outside of myself and any goal that's not tied to my personal life. And so the reason I say that though is because when you realize what you want in your personal life and when you realize what you need in your personal life, the external goal becomes clearer. Like for instance, that business idea becomes clear. Why? Because you understand yourself. You understand what makes you tick. You understand what you enjoy. Another thing that Elizabeth Phillips says, don't go to bed displeased and angry with yourself. Like this is the problem with toxic productivity. It's like if you don't accomplish everything the exact same way that you envisioned it in your perfection and in your toxic perfection, then you're going to go to bed angry at yourself and you're going to feel incomplete and you're going to feel like that all these different things that you've been doing haven't added up to anything. Because why? Because you didn't accomplish it the way you thought you would, or you haven't made the progress the way you thought you have. But the truth is that this is all literally just a toxic way. It's just truly toxic. It's like terrible, honestly, to do this to yourself. Imagine being so stressed out and stressing yourself out to the point where you can't even enjoy life, where you can't even enjoy sleeping because you feel like you basically hate yourself to the point of, well, I don't deserve to sleep because I haven't accomplished X, Y, Z. And believe me, I've been there. And I'm thankful that I don't think this way about myself anymore. And I'm thankful that I don't think this way anymore. But like the reality is like, it can be a vicious cycle. You can think in your perfection, like for instance, my perfection has held me back from all sorts of different things because I really believe that my perfection was reality. Because guess what? Your perfection, your idea of perfection is not reality. It is not going to happen the way you think it's going to be. And if you're anything like me, you need to realize that your perfection is honestly just a sin. Like you cannot expect it, because guess what? The way I am, when I'm a perfectionist, I get to this attitude of, well, if it doesn't come out like this, or if it's not made like this, or if it doesn't end up like this, then I don't want to do it. Then it's not worth it anymore. But then guess what? I don't get to do anything because I can't even enjoy life and I can't even enjoy being productive because I've already ruined it for myself. And so this is what happens when we have too much of something that is considered good, and that is especially with productivity and motivation. And I would debate that every other aspect of life is just as important, even more so than just productivity and entrepreneurship. So like, for instance, like every single thing that you can imagine, like, okay, like health is just as important as your job, as your side business, as your side gig, as productivity, as motivation, as money. Your family is more important than money, more important than productivity, more important than motivation, more important than your gig, more important than your business. So it's just the fact of like, okay, how are you going to realize the balance of what you value in your life? Because this is the reality. People think that it's okay, just as long as you are productive, to ignore your family and to ignore everyone. I saw this one clip from the Shark clip. Oh my gosh, Gabby. Kevin O'Leary, right? He's on Shark Tank, right? I think his name is Kevin O'Leary. Let me look that up real quick. I'm not going to edit this. Kevin O'Leary. Yes, it is Kevin O'Leary. Okay, so Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, right? I saw this clip of him today. He said, you better marry someone that believes in you and loves you, because for the first 10 years of your entrepreneur life, you're not going to see them, and she's going to raise the kids alone for the first 10 years of your career. Like, how sad. Think about that. Their dad, her husband, was not there for nearly 10 years because he was okay with sacrificing the time with his family, the time with his young children at the time when they were like, 3 up to 10 years old or something like that, just to become a billionaire, just to make it work, when he was obviously making more than enough to provide. And I just think that's sad because, like, think about it, right? Why do you want to be a billionaire? Like, I get that people like make billionaires like this kind of like a form of God, basically. They basically worship billionaires like it's like a good thing. But think about it. Think about all the times that they've had to sacrifice. And I'm not even going to call it a sacrifice. I think it's just pure selfishness. Think about all the times they've been selfish to get where they are. Because, like, why do you need $1 billion? Just think about that. It's an ungodly amount of money. And, like, I'm not in the crowd of like, oh, they should pay more in taxes then. Like, I don't care either way. But the point I'm making is, what's the point of money if I'm not going to enjoy it, if I'm not going to use it as a tool, if I'm not going to use it to provide for my family, if I'm not going to use it to enjoy things with my family or enjoy my family? So I just think that that's just the point of like, why do you want to, why would you consider that a good thing? That just made me think to myself, like, wow. Like, and, I don't think that Kevin O'Leary is an evil guy or a mean guy or whatever, But the reality is like, he sacrificed that much to get where he is today. And it's like, is that a net positive for him and his wife? Like, maybe his wife understood the cost. Maybe she wanted that life too. Like, I don't know. I don't know them. But the whole point is like, from my perspective, it's like, no, I'm not going to sacrifice my family and what I consider valuable in life just for money. Like, money will always be there. Like, even if I lose my job, I will go find another job. Even if like the economy crashes, I'll still figure out a way to provide for my family in some way, shape, or form. The reality is that if my life is not reflective of my values, then what's the point? And if my life is only reflective of the dollar amount in my bank account, then that's pretty shallow. That's just me, though. An intentional meaning is a way to fight toxic productivity. So this part that I wrote down, I wanted to say this. Intentional meaning. What is intentional meaning? I think I've talked about it enough in this episode so far. But intentional meaning is when you attribute your goal to something so intrinsic to your core that you can't help but you can't help to the point of all of your extrinsic goals and your external goals to become your intrinsic goals. And so, like, for instance, if it's more freedom and more time with your family, maybe it's you working as much as you can in that work-life balance as much as you can to the point of, oh, wow, now I can invest in like income stocks or like into different things, because guess what? I don't want to work forever. Maybe I want to retire at 40, right? So I'm going to take all the money that I can while I'm working 9 to 5, or while I'm investing even into my 401k or IRA or whatever it may be, right? And I'm going to invest as much as I can into dividends, invest as much as I can into income stocks, so that by the time I'm 40, guess what? I can spend as much time as I want with my family. I mean, by then, all my kids will be off to college. So like at that point, just work more, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, besides the point, the whole point is though, is that like, what is your extrinsic goal? Is it freedom? Is it to do more for your church? Is it to do more for a nonprofit that you believe in? Is it to do more for your community that you live in? Like, you need to think about what your extrinsic goals are, because if your intrinsic goal is to just constantly make money, that's not an intrinsic goal. That's just pure selfishness. And I'm convinced of that. And so ultimately, I think this whole episode can be summed up in this. When toxic productivity is actually toxic. When you forget to live your life. Toxic productivity is when you become selfish because you're so focused on just yourself. And so I think that that's the reality. If you're so focused and so prideful to the point where you've lost the point of what your journey in productivity, your journey in motivation, your journey in making a small business, your journey in entrepreneurship or whatever it might be, if it's become so focused on you, you've lost the whole point, because community is the thing that's going to hold it all together. Community is the thing that's going to make it make sense, to make your goals make sense. Your love for others, your selflessness for others is the only thing that's going to make your goals more apparent. And so I would just encourage you guys to just think about that, and just to think about the fact of like, am I being so over ambitious to the point where I'm not even enjoying life anymore? Maybe it's just a checklist I'm just checking off now. And maybe it's just like something I'm doing because I think I have to. I would just encourage you to think about like, what are your internal goals first, and then go from there and try to think about that. But this will be the last podcast episode for this month in September. Obviously, as I said, I'm moving away from daily journals because I just feel like I'm not getting enough content in them and stuff like that. So I'm just going to start making these longer episodes because I think that they're just going to be more edifying overall. So yeah, I just hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I wanted to make this video every other week alongside of the journal entries and stuff like that, but I just think that that's just not reality. So I'm just going to keep going and keep doing this format every week. I'll just come up with a new topic, talk to someone. I have a couple people lined up for interviews and stuff like that. A couple are pastors and another one is an entrepreneur. So really excited about that and really excited about the future. And I hope to have my wife on sometime soon too. Also, I'm building another podcast. It's called Just for Real with Grant Ace. So I hope to see you guys over there too. If anyone listens to this, that one's going to be mostly political. It's not going to be kind of like this podcast. This podcast is more like, my own progress with productivity and just like the overall winter arc of my own life, the winter arc of this season I'm in and stuff like that. And just like trying to prepare and trying to make myself into a person that I think, God wants me to be and who I want to be, honestly. So that's what this podcast is about versus the other one. The other one, as I said, more politically focused, but not as political. It's still just mostly just like talking to people and stuff like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys now know the difference between toxic productivity and productivity is this. One, you live your life, and the other, you forget to.